Hi everyone. So in this session, we are going to learn about the design thinking in the project management, and that how why it is important and what are the phases of the design thinking, which we can follow as a project manager in our project to make the successful delivery of the items. So here are some of the knowledge etiquette which we should follow. The first one is punctuality. Join the session 5 minutes prior to the session start time. The second one is feedback. To make sure to submit a constructive feedback for all the sessions, as it is very helpful for the presenter. The third one is silent mode. So keep your mobile devices in silent mode. Feel free to move out of session in case you need to attend an urgent call. Avoid the disturbance. So avoid unwanted chit chat during the session. Yeah. So our agenda for this session would be what is the design thinking, the phases of the design thinking, the benefits of design thinking, the design thinking in the project management, and last there will be some case study and the example through which we can go through the design thinking. So first one is like what is design thinking. So design thinking is a process that that can be used to solve the problems and develop creative solutions. As the name says, design thinking focus on the creative process through the methodical applications of creating thinking skills. It is also important to understand that people do not have to have the expertise of the designer to think like one. What actually we say that if we by the name is design thinking, we should have the user experience of designing the thing, but that's not the case. Design thinking training is intended to help the members of the project embrace innovation and the creativity while also making the decisions based on the human needs. How it can help the project manager? So this framework can project manager gain better understanding of their end users to develop insights and direction for the task. Efficient project manager through project design is crucial to delivering the best possible value. Design thinking is also extremely useful in solving the problems that are well defined or unknown. Design thinking is an iterative method that helps resolve user issues or the problem in alternative strategies and the solution. So in essence, if I say what is design thinking, so it resolves around a deep interest to understand the people for whom we designing productivity and services. It also helps us to observe and develop the empathy with the target users. Design thinking also helps to prove the extremely useful when we tackle the problems that are ill-defined or unknown. It also involves ongoing experimentation through the sketches, the prototypes, testing, and trials of new concepts and ideas. Okay. Moving to the next one, like the phases of the design thinking. So there are five phases of the design thinking, which we will be going to learn one by one. The first one is empathize. The second one is define. The third one is ideate. The fourth one is prototype, and the last one is test. So design thinking phase. So these are all the phase which we can follow phases of the design thinking. Starting with the empathize. So what is empathize? It is work to fully understand the experience of the user for whom you are designing. Do this through observation, interaction, and immersing yourself in their experiences. Empathy is also to perform the research and analyze to know the current state. It is also to be the human-centric ideas, to continuously focus on the human-centric ideas, eliminates the barriers for the professionals. We should be focusing on the user's perspective. Pay attention to the metrics like the prediction and the prescription analysis. The result of the empathy refuels our strategy process and the programs with the innovative solutions. In the empathize, we should be also asking the right questions. Giving an example, so we all know that how famous right now is the Zomato app. So when they have started build the Zomato app, the first question is came that is the user comfortable in using the Zomato app? Whether does he like the user interface which the Zomato is going to develop? What are the challenges he's facing while ordering the food? Does the design of this application evoke feelings of the transactions or the frustration? So user is getting frustrated while delivering the food or ordering the food. So without the empathy stage, the design process lacks all the user-centric quality, which helps the designer use the success stage and rather than the failure. So by this example, we can definitely say that whenever the Zomato has developed their app, they have gone through the empathize phase, that by getting all the asking the right question, whether the user is comfortable in using the Zomato app, or does he like the user interface, whether they are comfortable in ordering the food, whether they are being frustrated with the ads which we are getting on the Zomato app. So these are the some of the questions we should be asking in the empathize phase, by keeping the human centric approach or the experience of the user what they want. The second phase is the define phase, where the processes and the synthesize the findings from your empathy working order to form a user point of view that you will address with your design. So by going through the empathize phase, what are the we have got the data by doing the empathize phase, by interacting with the humans or by interacting with the users. We should be not defining in the define phase all those things. So we should be paying the attention to the asking the right questions. He should know how to tackle an issue. We should also know how to motivate others with wise words, encourages us to reframe the perceived problem. We should also allow a more holistic look. We should be also following the problem solving process correctly, helps us to build with the most authentic solutions in the defined phase. So what are the data we have got in the defined phase? Now in the defined phase we should be discussing about that one, mentioning everything. So giving an example, so with the width of the defined phase, just giving an example. So a, let's take an example, like a common problem for the mothers in managing the kids along during the crucial items is that, so we should come up with a solution for the mother, that how they can do the multitasking. If they're having a kid, they will used to face the problem that how they are going to manage their kids with doing the homework as well. So we should be collecting all the details of the mother and the child. We should be continuously taking the interviews, and we should be continuing with the discussions of the mothers, that how they are doing their work in night and how they are managing their child. We should be differentiating the facts from every mother's opinion. We should be also focusing on the major problems of the mother, that what are the major problems they are facing while managing the kids along with their household things. We should be also figuring out what expectation is violated from there, and we will be deframing in which stage the problem lies. So through which we can define all the processes and which we have got in the empathy phase. The third one is the ideate phase. So after going the empathize phase, we have discussed about the user. We have interviews of scheduled with the users to know their problems, what are the problems they have faced. In the define, then we have the define all the solutions and how we can solve with them. In the ideate, we can explore the variety of the possible solutions through generating a large quantity of the diverse possible solutions, allowing you to step beyond the obvious and explore the range of ideas. So in the idea state, we can list all of the ideas which we have to solve that problem. We should be accepting the different perspective to solve the issues. We should be strategizing solution for the problem. We should be addressing the divergent styles of thinking. We should also be accept the maximum ideation, that how many possible solutions we can have. We should be getting generated in the ideate phase. We should be convergent style of thinking. We should be thinking like the user, like I am the user and I have faced that issue and how I will going to overcome that one. So all of the ideas and the solution we should be listing down in the ideate phase. Giving an example of the ideate phase. So the problem statement is that a 20-year-old boy lives in a town, and he wants to know every day he wants to use a car for the 30-40 minute stream, and for the frequency like 2 to 3 frequency in per week. So the young boy does not have the proper or to prefer a own car, because it's simple that is a younger boy and he does not have that much money to buy a car. So what we can do in that case? Any suggestions from anyone, like what we can do and what are the ideas we can do if a younger boy have to travel 30-40 minute trip frequency of 2 to 3 times per week? So anyone wants to give any ideas that how we can solve this problem? No one wants to share anything, any ideas coming into their mind that how we can solve the problem.
Prince, can you please repeat the problem statement again?
Sure, Pooja. So there is a 20-year-old one who lives in a town and he wants to use a car for 30-40 minutes trips every day. The main problem is that he does not want to buy his own car because he does not have that much money. So what are the ideas we can have that how he can proceed with that trip also, and he does not have to buy a car also,
He can rent a car, he can do a carpool, right?
right?
He can bike to office, he can motorbike to office if possible. He can yeah, as Puja mentioned that carpool, or just go via train, go via bus if it's taking same time. So many other options available. If someone is going on his way to the office, then he can ask someone that if someone can drop him at the same time, coordinate with other if someone can pick him as well, which is again pooling.
Correct, Anku, correct. So yeah, there will be a lot of ideas which we can get for solving this problem. There is he can take the Uber if he wants to take the ride with a share car, so that he used to pay less as well. We can definitely ask the multiple question as well to the boy that why he wants and what are the other requirements of he has, so that we can uncover the unexpected areas of the innovation as well. The fourth phase of the design thinking is the prototype, where we have to transform your ideas into a physical form, so that you can experience and interact with them, and in the process learn and develop more uh, empathy. So giving an example, that first version of the Apple Watch, when the Apple Watch has been launched back in April 2015, it was a smaller version that the prototype model what they have. In fact, the prototype of the Apple, which watch was full size iPhone, so it was too big. And after that, when they have developed the prototype, they have tested it and they have modified it, and now we have a small cool watch of Apple. So that's how the prototype is phase is working. We can develop a prototype where we will just have an idea of this, and after that, we can definitely modify and transform all those the product what we have into the main product. So we can before developing the actual product, we can develop the prototype of that product, so that we will be getting a clear picture of how our main product is going to look. The last phase of the design thinking is uh, test. So in this phase, we can deploy it on a live, well, if it's a website or anything else, we can deploy on a live website or an application. We can test the performance of that version. We can use the different testing tools for optimizing the user experience. We can we can perform the various tests on that to run on the website. We have a good report generated for that testing as well, where we can have the details, like the complete details of the test you performed or we perform. We can have the clear picture of the information of what we have. We can also focus on the primary concerns while doing the testing of the product, and the testing should be the standard, the generate the report, but it should be the standard template. Giving a So what are the things we have developed in the prototype model? In the testing phase, we can test it, and if we found anything, fault tolerance or anything in the any of the phase, whether it's the empathize phase, if we notice that no there is some fault tolerance, so then definitely we can rework on the empathize phase. If we see that there is a problem in the define phase, we can understand the user requirement more and more in a better way, so that we can generate more ideas in the ideate phase, and we can come up with the new solutions. And yeah, rather than after that, we in the prototype session, we can develop the prototype much better after doing the testing, and we can finalize the model and perform the iteration on that as well to get the better product. So if I summarize the design thinking phases, so in the empathize phase, we should be able to get to know everything about the user. In the define phase, we will be coming up with the ideas on based of the empathy phase. In the ideate phase, we will be brainstorming and listing down all the creative ideas what we have at that time. In the prototype phase, we can finalize the design of the product, and in the test phase we can evaluate the result of the prototype what by doing the all the testing which we need to do on that product. Also, what's the goal of the design thinking process, like what by doing the design thinking process what we will be getting. So it's a simple that goal is to solve the complex problem from the human perspective, from the human approach. Design thinking also focuses on the creativity, innovation, and the user centricity. Design thinking is also process serves as a strong foundation to formulate the reliable strategies that results in a good product. There are a lot of companies which are using design thinking. Giving an example that the PepsiCo, Braun, Bank of Ireland, Bank of America, so all they are using the design thinking. And even in the market, based on the growth of the job offerings in the 2021, LinkedIn confirms that the top skills are the web development, SEO, and design thinking. So design thinking in the market also is come up as a lot of job offerings in 2021 according to the LinkedIn. It is extremely helpful in solving the problems that are ill-defined and unknown. Yeah. So some of the benefits of the design. Is someone saying something?
Please carry on. I have some questions and some viewpoints. So once you're done, then probably I can just put those in front of everyone. Yeah, please go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. So some of the benefits of the design thinking. The first one is the complexity, where design thinking is a practice fit to solve the complex and the multidimensional problems. The second point is the collaborative. Let me move to this picture. The second problem is the collaborative, where the design thinking is a collaborative practice which can help us. The third is the empathy, where design thinking urges a deep understanding of the human context, behavior, and the motivations. The fourth is the inquiry, where the design thinking uses the inquiry to identify the constraints relevant to the problem. The fifth point is the testing through the observation, where the design thinking uses a sense response approach to exploration and the learning. The visual problem solving, so design thinking uses the visual modeling and the techniques combining both the left and the right brain for holistic problem solving. The next point is the solution focus, where the design thinking attempts to solve the problem through the lens of the solution, not just the problem. RAID prototyping, so design thinking uses a technique of quickly fabricating the scale models of the part of the experience as well. And last one is the integrated thinking, where all the sciences are developed over time from the Renaissance and formalized in the spatialization and the processes they used. So there are a lot of the benefits which we can have while using the design thinking in solving any complex uh, problems as well. What is the DT in the project management? So like how design thinking can help in the project management. So we can definitely go through some of the points which are listed here. The first one is the consider the end users. So we should be having consider the end users as well while solving the problem, by keeping the mind that what all the end users want and how we can just help the users through that problem. The second is the keep the purpose or goal in the mind. So while using the design thinking, we should be also keeping the purpose or goal in mind, that how we are proceeding with uh, to solve the problem by using the design thinking. The third is the create unique solutions to the problem. So we should be creating the unique solutions to the problems as well. It should be not redundant solutions to the problems, that hey, someone has solved that problem by taking that approach and we should be following that again. So we should be not doing that one. We should be following the other problems, sorry, we should be following the other solutions to solve that problem. The fourth one is the be a facilitator of the conversation. So we should be facilitating all the conversations with the users, the end user which are facing the problem, so that we can understand their requirements betterly in solving the problem. The last one is the better stakeholder management. So we should be managing our stakeholder better. So as a project master manager, we should be managing our stakeholder betterly, and we should be always having a communication with them that how we are going to approach the problems while discussing continuous discussion with them. Yeah, so if you will see this diagram, you will be able to know that how design thinking with lean startup and the agile is solving our problems. So if you say in the customer problem, so design thinking starts with the customer problem where empathize, define, and the ideate help us in solving, in getting the problems and of the getting the problem of the users, where we can just go through all the phases of the design thinking, that the empathize, define, or ideate to know. And in the design thinking, as we know that we have to define the prototype with, we should be going through the empathize, then the define, then the ideate, then we should be having a prototype, and after that we should be having a test of the prototype. Then we should be lean going to the in the lean startup phase, where lean startup follows the measure, build, and the learn methodology. So we'll be measuring, we build, then we have to measure, and then from that we have to learn that whether it's the right product, what we want to deploy in the market or proceed with the market or not. If not, then we will be again building anything new, we will be measuring, and again we will be learning from that one. And how agile is helping, so we know that all of the agile ceremonies which help us in developing the product by iteration by following all the scrum ceremonies, like the sprint planning, the product backlog, the sprint education, sprint review, and then we will be having the shippable increment by the end of each sprint. Moving. So the last part with what I want to cover is the case study. So there are a lot of case studies which are random in the matter, but I am going to take one example. So back in 2005, Bank of America has challenged the IDEO, which is a design thinking company. So they had challenged that how Bank of America can gain the more uh, customers or the more accounts opened in their bank. So at that time, I do have them that giving example. So what we used to do that if we are going into the buy something, if the rate of that price is 9 rupees, we used to give them 10 rupees, and the shopkeeper used to give us 1 rupees toffee, or if he give us the 1 rupees change, somehow by other day or at that time only we will not keep that 1 rupee care, we will buy something else to eat or something else. So there we are not saving our money, we are just giving our money back to the shopkeeper, or they used to give us the 1 rupee toffee rather than giving 1 rupee exchange. So IDEO has just deal with the and it taken the interview of the user experience, and it found like the finances of the all the houses, the who manages the finance is the mothers or the ladies who manage the finances of the all of the houses. The mother or the ladies, they should be also the round figure. So if we are going to buy anything, again they will be giving, we will be paying 10 rupees, they will be giving the 9 rupees things, rather than giving 1 rupee exchange, they are going to give some toffees or anything else. So IDEO has found that we can 1 rupee, they can invest in the saving account by doing the payment of the debit credit card. So they found that if you are going to pay through the debit credit card the 10 rupees, and if the item contains only 9 rupees price, the 1 rupee will be directly going to the savings account. Generally we know that 10-20 years back the people don't have that much accounts, they don't have the account in their bank. In that way, I do have designed that by doing the payment through the debit card, the 9 rupee price will be detected, and the 1 rupee will be directly going to the saving account. And by that design thinking model, the 60% new users got enrolled in the Bank of America, and by which they have got the more and more accounts created in the accounts of the Bank of America. Yes, so these are the some references which I put in the slide itself. Whenever anyone wants to go through it, they can definitely go through it. Yes, so any questions to anyone?
Yeah, if you can just go back to the previous slide. This is Harendra. I think many of you would not be knowing. I recently joined just 2 days back as delivery manager, and very interesting topic. So I think in nutshell, I'm sorry if I'm taking a little bit more time.
No,
The
sure.
basic thing that we are trying to address here with the help of, design thinking, and it's an approach actually. So in design thinking,
Correct.
we are saying that when we say empathize, that translates into understand well,
Correct.
right? Then we say define means state the problem statement very clearly, categorically, right?
Correct.
Then when we say ideate, we say that figure out innovative ways of solving that problem which we have defined after understanding it well.
Correct.
And then we say that experiment with those ideas and verify whether the results are encouraging or not,
Correct.
right? So in nutshell, that's what it says. So my
Correct.
basic question here is, so if I'm using agile, right, does that
Right.
mean that I'm already applying design thinking, or I have to do something different in order to make sure that agile is being followed and I am applying design thinking as well in my approach to implement the projects using agile?
Okay.
What will
So
I
as
have to
that.
do in addition to implementing or following agile methodology? What in addition to that I have to do to make sure that yes, I am applying design thinking in my development approach?
Okay. So see, design thinking is that where we have to understand the customer problems, where we have to define, where we have to ideate and all those things. The agile help us in developing the product or the prototype which we want.
Mhm.
That makes sense. So design thinking is the approach where we have to understand the customer problem, where we have to define that, where we have to have the ideas that how our product is like going to look that one, what will be the prototype. Agile is helping us to develop that software by using the Scrum framework, whether it's the Kanban, whether it's the Safe framework. So Agile is helping to develop that product uh, so that we can solve the
Mhm.
we can solve the problem which user has faced. Whereas design thinking is that where we are just not going deep into the problem of the user by the phases, whether it's the empathize, whether it's the define, whether it's the ideate, whether it's creating the prototype, or whether after that we are testing it. Agile is helping us to deliver the product by which the problem gets resolved.
So again, I mean, this slight kind of confusion here. So I believe that when we say design thinking and project management, right?
Right.
So ideally, if I look at the narration that we had this now so far, actually your design thinking can be applied in any of the phases in agile, right? When you're doing product
Right.
backlog grooming, at that point of time also you should have agile thinking in mind. When you're doing your sprint planning, when you are doing anything like design thinking can be
Right.
applied
Right.
anywhere, right? It basically says that understand the problem well from users and users perspective, then state the problem very clearly so that it is understood well, and then figure out different ways of or innovative ways of solving that problem. Um, so agile is a methodology that we use to implement our projects.
Correct.
But design thinking applies to product management as well. And it is not only applied to the people who are doing in project management roles. It actually applies to all the people. They might be in business analysis role. They might be in product owner role. They might be in test manager role or tester role, right?
Right, right. So design thinking can be
Okay.
applied anywhere. It's not just related to the software development. It can be wherever we want. We can apply the design thinking. It's not just we should be focused only on the software development. Even in the industries, we can use the design thinking to solve the problem.
Okay, so my next question, just one more question I have,
Sure, sure.
is that basically, so if I have to do my sprint execution planning, product backlog grooming with design thinking approach, what specific things we should do, right? So that we can say that, yes, we are doing this project and we are actually applying design thinking in these projects. Are there any guidelines for that? Or should
I'm
we
not.
figure out, and just a suggestion as well, it's not just basically just a question, it's a suggestion as well. So ultimately, if we have to apply a particular approach, we'll have to do certain fixed things so that we can ensure that yes, people are following those things, and we can say that yes, these things if followed, we can say that yes, we are following basics of design thinking in our processes.
Right.
What are
So I currently I am not sure about any guideline is there to follow the design thinking in the Agile or the Scrum framework, but definitely we can try to follow the design thinking while running the project or the Scrum
Maybe
in
I
the
can add
planning.
some point here. Hi, Harinder, this is Amit Nair from
Yeah,
Agile
hi.
Studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in my past experience, I worked with a couple of product, manager, and they are responsible for making sure the product backlog should be in place. So they use design thinking as a tool for problem solving. So during the discovery phase as well, they use the design thinking as a tool to, make sure if there is any problem from the client or from the people, they would be able to analyze it properly through the design thinking so that they can come up with a proper optimal solution for the people. Okay, so they use design thinking as a tool to create a proper backlog items.
Right.
Okay, so they use this design thinking, but yeah, we cannot use it as part of Agile, but yeah, we can use in sync with Agile or the framework. So yeah, it's a tool that can be used to gather the requirement, okay, and freeze the requirement so that there should be there should be a clarification of requirement for the execution team. This tool can be used by anyone, as per me.
Yeah. Right.
It can be used by the execution team as well. So if there is a problem and they need to approach a problem in a smart way, they can use design thinking to solve that problem and find some solution for that problem. Okay, through the 5 phases. Okay, and yeah, so how do we empathize it? We can, product manager create empathy map to, create, to empathize a particular problem, to understand the end user, to understand the nature of the end user. So yeah, anybody can use this tool. It's not limited to the product management. You have said it right. It is not limited to the product management. It can be used by a project manager to identify a solution for a wicked problem or for an unnatural problem.
Yeah, very well explained. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it can be used by anyone. Okay, it's not limited to a designer because design thinking came to existence not by design community. It is came to assistant by a person who actually created MRI machines for GE. Okay,
Right.
so at that point he actually he found some issues in MRI machine, and he was actually creating MRI machines for kids. Okay, so he found that the kids are actually getting afraid of getting into that MRI machine that we have right now today in the world. So he created MRI machine specifically for the kids by understanding what kids needs. Okay, and what he actually interacted with NICU nurses, the nurses who is actually handling the the kids. So he interacted with them. He identified the problem. He understand the issue with the user, and then he created an MRI machine particularly for that particular kid, particularly for the kids, and he drafted a paper with the name of creative thinking. So at that point, I after reading that, I understood that it's not limited to designers. It is limited to anyone who want to solve a problem.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. I mean, very well explained. I think, and the two approaches actually. One is basically figure out after understanding your customers' needs, and there is very kind of famous discussion that happened basically. Wherein Steve Jobs once said that my current users don't know what they can get. I know what I can give them, right? So again, I mean, design thinking has two things. I think it's not just about understanding from your customers what they really want. Sometimes you can enhance their, experience by giving them some very innovative solutions. I think before smartphones came, nobody was using smartphones, right? So he had created that need. So sometimes basically with the help of design thinking, it's not just understanding customers' requirement, but also understanding how it can be used in a better way.
Yeah, right.
So that's actually creative thinking. So when smartphone came, nobody before that was very clear about how these devices can be used more effectively, more productively. But that changed everything, right? After that, it completely revolutionized basically the industry.
Yeah.
So creative thinking is at the core of it, as you mentioned very
It started with creative thinking actually, and Prince has explained it very well that there is a case study from the Bank of America. So there are many products or services that we are using currently is the outcome of design thinking. So for
Right.
example, Bank of America has introduced this keep the change exercise where they have reached the IDEO. IDEO is the community. Actually, they are responsible for making sure to implement design thinking in an effective way. Okay, so IDEO is the community who actually brought the design thinking into existence. Okay, so Bank of America reached IDEO and asked the people, asked the IDEO that we want to engage our user to use more credit card services. So credit card were new to people at that time in America. So they introduced this keep the change program. So they said that so whatever the purchases you are making. So for example, if you're making a purchase of 2.60, we will add. We will round off the amount. So if you're making 2.60, if you're making a purchase of 2.60, we will add 0.40 cent or zero point 0.4 cent to the amount, and that will be acted as a that will be added to your savings account. Okay,
Oh.
in this way, people have started using their credit card a lot, and in this way, they used to get a lot of cents in their account, and using that cent, they used to purchase more and use more their credit card services. So this is the outcome of design thinking, right? Today, today, this has been used by many banks. If
Right.
you pick any bank, you have a redeemable points that actually came as a part of design thinking process.
Good,
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah. So
Thanks.
see, Airbnb. Airbnb came into existence because of design thinking. Why?
Right.
It has a very good website. It just because of design thinking. Okay.
Great.
So
Thank
yeah,
you.
you all can go and just search IDEO. IDEO has a lot of case studies, a lot of tools. Even IBM has started their own design thinking tools and certification that is free to use. Go and enlighten yourself about design thinking. Okay. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Amit. Yes, any other questions from anyone? We would like to answer that question as well.
It has been a very good session, Prince. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Pooja.
Thank you, Prince. Well
And
done. I
thanks,
think.
Harendra, for initiating these questions, and Amit, for further clarifying. It it helps build up more clarification to
Yeah.
everyone.
I think primarily all these sessions are really very good way. I think I'm very new. I think in this setup, but what I really liked is basically this rigor for these sessions. And then I think if these sessions are more interactive, and we can actually figure out a way how we can use these things in our day-to-day life or in our day-to-day work culture. So that would really be helpful. So I think the next step after these sessions, what should be there as a common exercise for everybody is just think about how we can implement it in our day-to-day work and reap the benefits which the whole world is, reaping. So if we are able to do that, that's a very constructive approach. And we are not only learning, we are not only sharing information, but at the same point of time, we are making very good use of that information for our own betterment. I think that's the real, I would say, benefit of sharing knowledge, using that knowledge for day-to-day work. Some of the things we can use, maybe some of the things are not so simple to be implemented, right? Because it requires a bigger change. But I think the approach should be that. But very interesting, and thank you so much, Amit, for adding all that additional, input. It makes really easy to then explain it to others with the help of examples and a little bit context and a bit history about it, why this came into being, etc. So thanks for that. Very good session.
Thank you, Prince. Thank you for initiating the session. Thanks a lot.
Sure. Thanks, everyone.
So thank you everyone for having such meaningful conversation with Harendra and Amit. And thank you, Prince, for putting up this topic We are not expecting any questions as of now, so we'll just wrap up. Thank you guys for joining in. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you,
weekend.
everyone.
Thank you,
Friday. Bye.
everyone.
Take care.